Let me tell you something, dear listeners. The day you find a tracker under your car at 64 years old is the day your life splits into a before and an after. And I remember the exact moment mine changed. It was a Tuesday morning, foggy, quiet, and cold enough that the air felt like thin glass. I was on my knees in the driveway, trying to unstick a piece of plastic lodged near the undercarriage of my old sedan. I thought maybe a cat had dragged something under there.
But no.
I pulled it out and froze. A small black box. No logos. No marks. A blinking red light. A tracker. For a moment, I just stared at it, the cold seeping into my skin. In 64, Clara, retired school librarian, widow of 10 years, mother of one ungrateful daughter who lives 3 states away. I live alone in a small house on a quiet street. I have nobody who would track me, or so I thought. I stood up slowly, my heart pounding so loud it sounded like footsteps behind me. I spun around. Nothing. Just the fog, the silence, the hum of my refrigerator leaking through the open kitchen window. That day, I felt something awaken inside me. Something sharp, something calculating. Something I hadn't felt since my husband died. "You picked the wrong old lady," I whispered. But I didn't call the police. No, I decided to play. You must understand, I've lived long enough to know that when danger creeps close, you don't scream. You observe.
You don't run, you plan.
And you certainly don't show fear. Fear feeds predators. So I took a breath, carried the tracker inside, and sat at my table, watching that blinking red like it was a pulse.
Someone was watching me.
Someone was close. Someone thought I was harmless. But the secret to being underestimated at my age? It becomes your greatest weapon. That night, before I went to bed, I set the tracker on the counter and poured myself a cup of chamomile tea. I sipped slowly, thinking about every possibility. Burglars, scammers, my daughter's deadbeat ex-husband who once threatened me, even my neighbor's sketchy son who always looked at my house a little too long. Nothing made sense. I barely slept. Every creak of the house sounded like footsteps. Every passing car felt like a warning. When morning came, I hadn't found answers, but I had made a decision. If someone wanted to know where I was going, then I would give them something to follow. Something far away. The next part, I'll admit, was a little reckless for someone my age. But fear sharpens you. And revenge keeps you standing tall. I had a friend, well, more of an online acquaintance named Oliver, a sweet elderly man from Vancouver who loves baking and national parks. We'd never met, just chatted through a gardening group. But he had once told me, "If you ever want fresh maple cookies, I'll send you some." I smiled at the memory and picked up my phone. "Oliver," I typed, "I need a strange favor." He replied in 2 minutes, as if waiting for a mission. I mailed the tracker to him inside a package of old books, carefully cushioned, so it wouldn't break. No return address. No identifying marks. Just a tracker taking a ride across the continent. 3 days later, I got an email. "Got your package. The little gadget you mentioned is blinking. Should I keep it with me?" I typed quickly.
Yes.
"And take it everywhere you go. Treat it like a pet rock." I almost laughed imagining the person watching their screen, expecting it to move across town. And instead seeing it cross borders and enter Canada. I poured myself tea and sat back. Checkmate, or so I thought. 2 days after the tracker reached Oliver, my phone rang. Unknown number. I didn't pick up. It rang again. And again. And again. Finally, I answered, pressing the phone to my ear with a hand that felt colder than ice. A man's voice.
Deep. Calm. Too calm.
"Clara," he said. My blood froze. "I didn't appreciate what you did." My throat tightened, but I forced myself to sound steady. "Who is this?" A soft exhale. "Where's my property?" "Your property?" I repeated. "You mean the tracker you glued to my car like a coward?" Silence. Then a low chuckle that made my spine crawl. "You're smarter than you look. And you're dumber," I shot back. The chuckle stopped. "Bring it back," he said, voice slicing through the air like a knife. "It's out of the country," I replied. That silence. "Oh, That silence was something I will never forget. It was alive,
Heavy.
violent. Then he said 5 words that made my entire world tilt. "I'm closer than you think." The call ended. I stood there in my kitchen, staring at the phone like it was a loaded gun. My hands shook. My breath came shallow. My house felt smaller, darker, like the walls were leaning in. Closer than I think. What did he mean? Where was he? I rushed to my windows, checking each one, pulling down the blinds. The sun was setting, painting the sky blood red. My heart pounded as I double-checked every lock. I barely slept that night. The next morning, I went outside to get the mail, trying to act normal, trying to pretend I wasn't terrified. And then I saw it. Footprints. Not mine. Not the mail carrier's.
Fresh.
Large. Leading right up to my bedroom window. My throat closed. Okay, Clara, I thought.
Think.
I called the police, finally, but they were polite and useless. Could be an animal, the officer said. Well, patrol the area. Call us if anything else happens. Anything else? What else was left? And so began the worst 3 days of my life. Every night, I heard noises outside. Every morning, I found something moved, shifted, disturbed. A trash can tipped over. A garden tool lying in the grass. A small rock placed neatly on my porch. Like a message. I was here. My appetite vanished. My breath felt tight. I carried a flashlight and kitchen knife everywhere, even to the bathroom. The fear didn't creep, it invaded. It lived beside me, breathed down my neck. But remember what I said earlier? Being underestimated at my age is a weapon. And I was ready to use it. 2 years ago, I had installed a new security system, discrete cameras hidden in my garden decor. A gnome whose eyes were cameras, a birdhouse that wasn't a birdhouse, even a fake sprinkler head with a lens. I reviewed the footage with trembling fingers. There he was.
Tall.
Dark clothes, hood over his head, moving slowly around my house like he owned the place, peering through my windows, touching my doorknob, leaning over my flower beds. My stomach dropped. I took screenshots, saved videos. My hand shook so badly, I nearly dropped the mouse. He was stalking me. But something bothered me, something wrong. Why me? I'm nobody. I live quietly. I have no money worth stealing. He wasn't after cash. I think he was after me. The 4th night, he called again. Enjoying your new decor? He whispered, as if he were inside my walls. My blood ran cold. What do you want? I asked, my voice cracking. You shouldn't have sent my tracker away. Now I have to keep a closer eye on you. A pause. I like watching you, Clara. My legs almost gave out. Then he said my address. My bedroom window location. That he liked my lavender pajamas. I dropped the phone and vomited from fear. That night, I sat in the dark with every light off, clutching a knife, tears hot on my face. I prayed. I begged my late husband to watch over me. I felt small.
Old.
Breakable. But fear has a strange way of morphing into rage. And rage can make a 64-year-old woman unstoppable. The next morning, I called my friend who works at the local library. I told her a lie, that I was planning a surprise book donation and needed access after hours. She agreed. She knows I love my mysteries. And I do. Especially the ones where the villain walks right into the protagonist's trap. I spent all day preparing. I packed a suitcase. I left the blinds slightly open. I placed a note on my counter visible through the window. Gone for the weekend. Visiting my sister. All lies. All bait. At sunset, I parked my car 2 blocks away, dressed in dark clothes, and walked back silently, slipping into the bushes behind my tool shed where I had a hidden camera feed playing live on my phone. 2 hours passed. My legs cramped. My fingers went numb in the cold. Then I heard it. Footsteps.
Slow.
Confident.
Close.
He approached my back door.
Pulled at it.
Found it locked. Walked to the window. Peered inside. I pressed record on my phone. My heart hammered so loud I thought I'd hear it. He tried my side door. Then the garage. Then the living room window. And then, He found the fake spare key I had planted for him right under the flower pot. My heart stopped. He slipped inside. I waited 30 seconds. Then I sprinted to the library's side entrance, where I knew the night officers patrol passed regularly. I flagged him down, breathless, trembling, showing him the live video feed. He called for backup. I sent the full video to the station. Within 6 minutes, my house was surrounded. Within 8, he was in handcuffs. Within 10, I learned the truth. His real name was Anthony, 38 years old. No known address. 5 prior stalking cases, all dismissed due to lack of evidence. He targeted quiet older women who lived alone. He had followed me for 2 months, filmed me,
Recorded me.
tracked my routines. The detective told me, sending the tracker to Canada confused him. That's when he got bold. Angry. I told them, I wasn't trying to make him angry. I was trying to make him chase the wrong person. The detective shook his head. He wasn't chasing the tracker. He was chasing you. My knees weakened. But then he added words that felt like oxygen to my lungs.
Ma'am.
Because of your footage, we finally have enough to put him away. I cried. For the first time in days, I actually cried from relief. My daughter flew in, horrified that I hadn't told her sooner. She installed extra locks, alarms, lights, even a new fence. The police checked on me daily. Neighbors dropped off casseroles and flowers. I wasn't alone anymore. But something changed inside me. I wasn't a victim. I was the one who turned the tables. A few weeks later, I mailed Oliver a thank you package with real maple cookies this time. He laughed when I told him the story, though I left out the terrifying parts. I also bought a new car, and a baseball bat, and a very large German shepherd named Moose. You don't mess with a woman my age. We have lived too much, survived too much, lost too much.
We don't break.
We strike back.
Hard.
And that, dear listeners, is how I, Clara, age 64, turned a stalker's game into my own revenge story. If you enjoyed my tale, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another one of my stories. Stay safe, stay aware, and never underestimate an old woman.